Hello. Today I will design a program zoo. So I will design a task. First zoo. Right. Let's create a package. And let's create a class animal. So we're asked to design a program that a zoo program that manages animals, so that we can zoo has different animals. Each animal has unique. It can make unique sounds and move. So we'll add elephant and bird as an example, and then we also need to implement a method for the zoo that can add any animal, and it can display what sounds and what moves that animal can make. So let's go and do this. So we have our entities. Let's start from animal. So created a class animal. Animal has private fields. So we're using encapsulation here. So animal can have private field, let's say string species, or let's keep it simple. So name of the animal. Either it's a bird or elephant, and also let's say it has there's an age, right? So, but okay, that's not important. So just let's keep the field name. So also we want to have a constructor, public animal so this name is equal to name. So whenever we create an instance of the class animal, we could then assign the name of the object when creating an object directly. So we can use constructors for that. But we know that we're not gonna create objects of the type animal, so we can make this class abstract. So animal class will be abstract, and let me create a method, a getter for the name. Since it's private, we cannot access it. In order to access the field name, we need to use a getter. So I will use public return type string get name, no parameters, and it will return name. Alright, so we have implemented getter here, a getter. Also, an animal can make a sound, so I will create an abstract method here. Abstract method, we remember that abstract method is a method that has just we just write the signature of the method. So make sound. We do not implement the method itself, we just write the signature. So the return type is void. It will print out some message. And also we'll create an abstract method move that will print out the message. depending on the type of the animal. Right, so now we have another entity. So let's create an elephant and a bird. So let's create a new class, bird. Let's start from the bird, right? In order to call the constructor of the parent class, we can use a keyword super. So I'm going to show this in a minute. So constructor bird, but first let's use inheritance. So bird extends animal to inherit the properties of the animal, so the name and these methods. Let's say, so we want to call the constructor of the parent class. We're going to use keyword super that allows us to reference to the constructor of the parent class, and we pass name here, right? And also we forgot to mention it in the parameters of the constructor, so name. Right, so now we need to implement the method make sound and method move. We have to implement it because whenever we extend an abstract class, like in this example animal, we must overwrite the abstract methods. So let's start from the method move. So bird, let's say bird flies, right? Bird flies. And we have another method which is make sound. So we'll print out bird chirps. Right. Now let's create another class. So we have another entity elephant. So elephant will also extend properties of the animal. How do we know where we use the keyword extend, where we inherit one class from another? We can use this trick. We can say, so we can use parent class like animal and check. So can we say animal has an elephant, or can we say to be the correct way is to say elephant is an animal. So is elephant an animal? So sounds logically, right? We can say elephant is an animal, so in this case we can use the inheritance principle, an OP principle. Right, so now let's create a constructor, public elephant string name, and let's assign, let's use the constructor super again. So super name in order to refer to the parent class. We can use the constructor, you can use the keyword super. Right, now we have to overwrite the methods move. So elephant, let's say elephant walks, right? Elephant walks. And let's overwrite the method make sound. So elephant trumpets. We know that elephant trumpets. So elephant trumpets. Okay. Now let's create a class zoo. So zoo can add animal, so we can add them to the zoo and display the information, right? So let's start with the method add animal. So let's say public void add animal, right? It will accept or have a data type animal that we just created. And let's just print out the message. So let's get the name of the animal. So animal dot get name, and here we can say add it to the zoo. Right. Now let's create a method that will display the animal. So let's say or show, right? Show animal, let's say. So show animal. And let's print out so let's say species access the name of the animal, so get name. Then let's print out the sound. So animal dot make sound. Right, so it's already printing the value, so we can directly write animal make sound and animal dot move. Right. And let me use to differentiate between the animals. Right. So now let's create a main method and try to run what we get here. In the main method we'll create a main class, the main method. method. Now let's create animal bird, let's say new bird. Let's say bird. Another one, let's create an elephant. And call him elephant. Right, now we can create a zoo. Let's say my zoo. New zoo. And let's try to add animal. So let's say elephant. And let's also add our bird. And let's call the method show animal. So my zoo dot show animal. So elephant and a bird. Now let's go and run this. So we can see elephant added to the zoo, bird added to the zoo, and here we wanted to see the information about elephant, so species elephant, elephant trumpets, and elephant walks. And we have bird, so species bird, bird chirps, bird flies, so everything works correctly. So we can see that we used the OP principle, like abstraction. So inheritance, encapsulation, you see the private fields, getters, you also use polymorphism, right? So the method make sound and move is overridden here, and the same here. So the behavior of the method changes depending on the type of the object. And also we have a class zoo where we can see the abstraction in action. So when we call the method animal get name, animal make sound, we don't know what animal is that, so we just execute the method. Right. Alright, so let's move to the next task. So we have task managing pets. Right. Alright, so system has different types of pets, each of which requires a unique care, right? So we have a parent class pet that has descendants like dog and cat. Let's go and design the system. Let's create a new package. Let me create a new package. Test one. And here, add class pet, right? So we don't want to have any objects of the class pet, so we can directly make it abstract. So pet has fields like, let's say, name, and let's say gender. We can use string, or let's use string gender. Right, so let's create a constructor. Okay, let's use a little help from the IDE. Right, and let's create getters for our private fields like name and gender in order to access the values of the fields. Right, so now let me create an abstract class. So public abstract class, abstract method eat, right? Eat, and public abstract, let's say, play. And what else do we have? Right, so interact. Now let's create a class dog, right? So dog that extends class pet. So dog is a descendant of pet. And let's implement the constructor. Let's create a constructor. Right, so it has parameters like string name and string gender. Now we will invoke a parent class using the keyword super. We will refer to the super class and pass the name and gender. Alright, now let's overwrite the abstract methods. Let's start from eat. Right, so dog eats dry food. We also have an abstract method play, right? So let's say dog is walking. Let's say dog is walking, right? Let's create another class, cat. So cat, and again we can use generate here. So generate constructor. forgot to inherit the properties of the class pet. Alright. Now let me write the constructor. So again, string name and string gender. And we'll use the keyword super to refer to the parent class, name and gender. Right, now let me overwrite the method eat. So let's say cat eats wet, right? Wet eats wet food. Override. Now let's override the method play. So let's say cat let's say cat plays right. Now we will design some system that accepts any pet. Let's say pet system. A new class, pet system. Or how can we call this? Alright, let it be pet system. Pet system. Right, so here we want to implement, we want to allow the interaction with the animal. So let's start from feeding, like public void feed. Let's pass the parameters pet. So we don't know what kind of pet is that, depends on the type of the pet that we'll pass to the arguments when we call this this method. And we will print out pet dot eat. Right. It already prints out the message, so we don't know to use. We don't have to use the system out print line function in this case. Right. So feeding, also walking or playing. Let's say pet. Let's create another method. So public void play, right? So pet and pet dot play, and what it can also accept any pet. So let's also create a method, add pet, right, so here we can print out some message. Let's say pet get name, let's say accepted or added. Right. What else do we have? Now we will create a main method. Main, right? A main class with the main method. Now we can start creating our pets. So let's start from the cat. So cat, call the constructor using the keyword new. And so let's say name is the cat and gender, let's say male. And let's create a dog, so new dog. Name, let's keep it simple, dog. And gender, let's say female. Let me also add another method like display or show info, let's say. Say pet dot get name. Species. So print out the name of the pet, so meaning the species, and the gender. We can use getter again, pet get gender. Right. Now let's create an instance of the class pet system. Let's call it pet system, new pet system. And let's try to accept the pet, then interact with it. So pet system, add pet, say cat. Alright, let's run this. And cat added. Now let's say pet system, feed the cat. So here we see the message cat eats wet food. Let's say pet system dot play cat. So cat plays, right? We can use the same for the dog. Dog. So dog added. Dog eats dry food. Dog is walking. Right. Now let's try to print the information. So using again pet system dot show info cat, and also let's use show info dog. So species cat, gender male, and species dog, gender female. Correct. Right, so we considered all the characteristics, and now we can move to the next task. Alright, so we have a restaurant management. So restaurant has different dishes, each of which has its own characteristics. For example, a hot dish, drink, and served differently. So hot dish is served with temperature indication, drink is served with volume indicated. Now let's design a system that allows adding dishes. So we'll have a parent class dish, and these will be descendants of the class dish. Let's create a new package, test 5, and create a new class dish. So each dish has a name, right? So let's create a field, private string name. What else? Right, so and also let's create an abstract class, a method. So we know that we're not gonna create a specific, a general, we will not use the class dish to create an object, an instance of this class. So it either will be some specific dish like hot dish or some drinks. So we can use abstract keyword here. We can make this class abstract, right? So let me create an abstract method. So abstract void, right? So each dish is served. So we can say serve and let's also create a constructor here. So constructor matches with the name of the class, so dish, right? Also we should specify the parameter, so name, and we use keyword this to refer to the current object. So current object, the value of the current object's field name will be assigned to the name that we pass. Right, so now let's create another class, hot dish, and let's directly create a class drink. Right, so hot dish extends dish because they all have a shared field like name, depending if it's a drink or dish, hot dish. Right, so we can also implement a constructor here. So public hot dish string name, and also a hot dish has a unique field, so temperature, right? So let's create a field private, let's make it double, temperature, temperature, and it's also specified here in the constructor, so double temperature. Now we'll use super to refer to the name, and we will use this temperature to refer to the temperature. Right. Now let's override the method serve. So we don't necessarily have to make it abstract in this case. Let's just use alright, let's keep it abstract, right? Let's keep it abstract. So the name of the dish right. So refactor. There's the second letter of the the second letter of the dish is written with a capital letter. Let me change that using refactoring. Rename. Right. So we know that hot dish is served with the temperature indication. So let's say so hot, just a sec. Right, so we should also implement a getter for the name in order to access the value of the private field. So public, the return type will be string, so get name, right? So we'll return name. Correct. So now we can use get name. So the name of the dish let's say with temperature now let me use getter for the temperature. We can use get temperature. And let's add degrees. And just Celsius. Just Celsius is served. Right. A hot dish served with temperature indication. Now drink is served with volume indicated. So let's go and extend the drink in the dish. And let's implement a constructor. Let's create a constructor. Drink string name. and it will also have a specific, a unique field, private volume. So volume, let's make it double volume, and let's also specify the volume in the constructor parameters, so double volume. Right, now to refer to the field of the, to refer to the parent class, we can use the keyword super again, and we pass name, and this volume is equal to volume. Correct. Now let's overwrite the method serve. So serve and print out so get name, with volume, let's say volume, and let's indicate the volume. You can directly access the volume because the field is accessible, the private fields are accessible within a class. But let's create a getter for this as well, even though we could access the field volume without using a getter here, but let's follow the rules and implement a getter. So get volume, let's say liters, or say milliliters. And the volume is in milliliters, milliliters, and temperature in Celsius. And in milliliters is served. Right. Now we need to design a system that allows adding dishes to restaurant menu and displaying their descriptions, taking into account specific characteristics. Right. So let's create another class. Let's say menu, and in the class menu we can now we can manage, we can allow adding dishes here, so we can add dishes. So let's create a method, public void add dish, so dish. So dish here in this example is a reference data type that allows us to reference to the class dish, and this is the name of the so the name of the parameter that has a data type dish. So here we can print out a message, so we can say dish dot get name. Alright, is added to menu. Now we want to display the description. Now let's create a method, public void dish description, and again in parameters we have a data type dish. So now it will display description taking into account a specific characteristics. Right. In order to do this, let's implement a method. Description. And we will print out let's say dish get name, and temperature for the hot dish. Right, so temperature, get temperature. Now let's implement the same for the drink. So public void description, so let's print out get name, so dish, let's use name, right? Let's use name, and in this case we will specify the volume. Right, so get volume. Right. And in the method dish description, now we can call the dish dot in order to access the description here, like dish dot description, we should implement it in the abstract class. So public abstract void description. Now everything works fine, right? So we override it. We have overridden this method, so override here. Oops. So override. And here. And so override. Right, so, and let's create a main class. Main with the main method, and so what do we have here? So it allows us adding dishes, right? Displaying their descriptions, right? So now it's time to run. So let's create an object with class dish, let's say. So what do we have? So dish, let's say steak, right? Steak, new hot dish. So the name of the dish is steak. And the temperature, let it be 35 degrees. Now let's create another dish. Let's say water, right? So water, new drink. So the name of the dish is water, and the volume, say 500 some milliliters, right? 500 milliliters. Now let's create a menu. New menu, right? And now let's add our dishes. So menu.add dish steak, and let's add dish water. Let's go and run this. So we can see steak is added to menu, water is added to menu, right? Now we can let's serve the dish, right? Wait. Let's display the information. So dish description. Let's describe the steak, and the same for the water. Let's go and run this. So the name is steak, temperature is 35, and the volume, and name is water, and volume 500 milliliters. Right. Let's also add a method. So public void serve. That will allow us to serve the dish. Now let's go and try to serve these dishes. Let's serve steak, water. So steak with temperature 35 degrees is served, and water with volume 500 milliliters is served. So is that correct? So we designed a system that allows adding dishes, right? And displaying their descriptions. Yes, right. Now we can move to the next task. So let's create a package. Test 6. So we have an educational platform. So the educational platform has entities like course, students, teachers, students can study in courses and teachers check their assignments. It's necessary to design a system that adds students and teachers to a course, allows students to study and record their progress. Teachers can check students' assignments. Right, so we have an educational platform, we have students and teachers and courses. So students can study courses, teachers check their assignments. Right, so we can create a class person. And make this class abstract. So person can have a name, so with the data type string, and also private string name. Let's create a constructor as well. So let's use generate constructor. Okay. Now let me create a new class student. So student can study courses, can study in courses, and record their progress. So let's call let's make the student extend a class person. So extends person, and let's create a constructor. Let's generate a constructor. And student has a method study. So let's create this public void study. So let's say student, let's implement a getter here for the name. Generate getter. Right, so studies. Right. And you can also record the progress. So record, right? So record progress. And let's say get name, records the progress. Right. So we also have a teacher. So let's create a class teacher, teacher can check the assignments. Right, so teacher can check the assignments. So teacher extends class person because they have the same field name. Right, we can call the constructor to generate. We can generate the constructor. Right, the name. So teachers can check the assignments. Void check assignment. So teachers can check the student's assignments. So student, we pass the name of the student, and teacher. So teacher checks the assignment of students. We also have educational platform and course. Alright, so now let's create a class course. So course, and let's say as a field private string let's say name, so name of the course. And let's create a constructor, so course and let's say, okay, let's keep it simple, so just the name of the course. So name of the course, this name is equal to name. Right, so whenever we create an object of the class course, we can directly assign the value to the private field name of the course. And also we want to be able to add students and teachers. So add student, so student student is added to course, let's say, and let's implement a getter for the course name. So generate getter. Let me actually make it understandable. Say just course, right? Control. So course, and the getter will be get course. Get course. get course. Correct. And the same for the teacher. So public void add teacher. So teacher instance of the class teacher, and we print out. So teacher get name. So some teacher is added to a course. Right. What else? So add students and teachers, allows students to study and record their progress, and teachers can check students' assignments. Right. What else can we do? What else? Let's create another class, educational platform. So let's go edu platform. Right. So let's say so we have educational platform, and let's say it has a method. Create course, right? So course object of the type of the reference type course, and we will say so course dot get course. Course is created, let's say, and let's create another method. Add student. So student and we can call a method student dot, we can call method course dot Alright, let's keep it simple. Just let's keep it the way it is, and let's create a main method. So main here, I mean the main class, and here we'll create a main method. So let's create a course algebra. So new course and the name of the course. So algebra. Let's create a person. Student. So new person. Oh. Should be new student. the students. So let's say John. And we have teacher. So say teacher, new teacher. And her name, let it be Mrs. Smith. Right. So we created a course, we created a student and teacher. Alright, so now we have a system that adds students and teachers to a course, right? So let's also create an educational platform. So new edu platform. And let's create a course. So edu platform, create course, algebra. Right. And now this will print out the course algebra is created. Correct. Now we want to add teachers and students to the course, so we'll say course dot we'll say algebra dot add student. So our student that we just created, right? And we can say so we should fix one moment here, we should fix this. We don't need a getter here, so student is directly will be put from the parameters, and the same with the teacher. So we don't need to we don't need a getter here. So now right, so we add student, and we also want to add teacher to the course. So add teacher and teacher. Right. So add students and teachers to a course, allows students to study and record their progress. So let's go and check this. So algebra course is created. John is added to course, and Mrs. Smith is added to course. Right. Now let's comment this. So let's check if our student can study. So student so now student can study and a teacher can check the assignment. Right. And also student can record the progress. So student checks the assignment, the teacher checks the assignment of student, right? So let me remove this. So John studies, John records the progress, and Mrs. Smith checks the assignment of John. Right. So we created a system that adds students and teachers to a course, allows students to study and record their progress. And teachers can also check the assignments. So everything works correctly, right? Let's check again. Let's run all this together so we can see the final result. So algebra course is created. Here we can see the Edu platform. John is added to course algebra. Mrs. Smith is added to course algebra. Here we use these methods, and then we call the method student study. So John studies, and student record progress. So John records the progress, and teacher check assignment method that checks the assignment of the student. So Mrs. Smith checks the assignment of John. Right. So we can also try to debug this. Let me try this. The breakpoints. Right, so course algebra. What else do we have? Student and teacher. So let's try to debug this. So we create an object of class course. So we can see this course is null, so the memory is allocated for this, and the potential value for this field is algebra. So now we assign this course to course. This course is equal to course, so it means we assign the value of the potential course to the course, right? Then we create a student. So we go and refer to the we use the keyword super here to refer to the parent class, and the potential value for the field name is John. So this field John is sent to a class person. We should have done this person, and then an object of class student is created, right? So we can see student, The next we create teacher. So again we refer to the parent class. The potential value for the name in this for this field is Mrs. Smith. So we go to a person class, and in the constructor person we assign a value to a field name Mrs. Smith. So this is the potential value. Now after we assign it, so we can see the name is Mrs. Smith. So we assigned we initialized a field here. So right, we can see now teacher will appear. Teacher will appear here. So this is the memory, right? Now we'll create an educational platform, and we'll create course using the educational platform. So we'll go to educational platform, and this line will be printed out. So we can also go deeper to the get course, right? So we can go deeper. So we return the course. So the course is algebra, you can see, and this will be returned. So course algebra is created. Algebra course is created, right? So in the console we can see course algebra is created, right? Now we go to algebra and add a student. Add student. So we get student name. So now we return the course name. And we can see that it's printed out, right? So now the same principle with add teacher. So we can go deeper. So first we get the name of the teacher. So teacher get name. So name of the teacher is Mrs. Smith. Right. Then we return the name of the teacher, so Mrs. Smith. And now we get the course. So course algebra. Here you can see algebra. And then we can see that the message will be printed out. So Mrs. Smith is added to course algebra. Now we will call a method study from the student. So we can see get name, get the name of the student John, then we print out John studies. So John studies, right? And the same here. So we go and get the name of the student. So we get the name John, and then we print out John records the progress. John records the progress. And last one, teacher check assignment method. So we go deeper, go get name, can see here, Mrs. Smith checks the assignment of John. Right. And the program finishes successfully at this point. Right, so now we're asked to design a library system that has books and readers. Readers can take books from the library and return them. So let's create a new package. A new package, test 7. And let's create a class book. So we have our entities, books, readers, and library. So book has fields. So let's say private has fields like title, title. It also has, let's make it protected integer copies. So how many books? Right. Now let's implement a constructor. So string title and copies, integer copies. And we will assign the value of the title that we passed when we create an object of this class. So when we create an instance of the class book, we can use the keyword this to refer to the current object and assign it to title. And let me quickly write the same for copies. Alright, now we need getters for these fields, so we can implement it using the generate feature of the IDE. Like this. Right, now let's create a class, a reader. So reader has a name, so private string name, and let's create a constructor and getter. Alright, now let's create a class library. So what do we have? We have readers can take books and return them. Right. So let's write a method. Public void issue book. So here will be the parameters book name, so book and name of the reader. And so here we'll have a condition, like if the book count was copies, so book copies is greater than 0, then it means we can give the book. So we can print out the message, So book dot get title is issued to let's say reader name, so reader get name. So the message will be printed, and also we need to decrease the number of copies, so we can make book dot copies minus minus, and else, so else we can print out the message, the book title. So get title is book is unavailable, so right, so title is unavailable, right. Also we want to be able to return the book, so let's write a method for that. Public void return book. So again we have book, a data type book with an object book, and reader. And so when we return the book, we'll print out the message. So basically the same message, we can copy this. The book is returned by. And also we should increment the copies. So book dot copies plus. So we'll increase the number of copies by 1 whenever the book is returned, and we will decrease it by 1 whenever the book is issued to the reader. So when the reader borrows the book. Right. What else do we have? So basically now we can create a main class, a new class, main, and main method. So this is the entry point of our program. Now that we have a main method, this is officially a Java program. So now let's create a library first, and also we can make a constructor for the library that will print out a message. New library is created. Right, so let's create a library. So library, let's say my library, new library. I'll call a constructor using the keyword new and the name of the constructor. So now let's create a book. Right, let's create a book. So book, let's say book 1, using keyword new to call the constructor. Now we should pass the title. Let's say Martin Eden, and let's say 1 copy. Now let's create a reader. So reader, let's call him John. New reader. Again, we call the constructor, and here the name of the reader. So John. Let's call the method of the class myLibrary. myLibrary.issueBook. So here we pass the book 1, and the reader is John. Right, let's run the program. So now we should have a message library created. A new library is created, and also the book was issued to John. Let's check. So new library is created, and Martin Eden is issued to John. Right. So if we try to call this method again, what will happen? So we specified that we have just 1 copy of this book. It means John will not be able to take it again. So let's try to run this. So as we can see, Martin Eden is unavailable because only 1 copy was specified when we created an object of the class book. Right. But we can also try to return book. So again, book 1, and so who returns the book? John. Now let's run this. So Martin Eden is issued to John, and Martin Eden is returned by John. So John returned the book Martin Eden back to the library. Right. So we designed a program, we designed a system that reduces the number of books when they're issued and increases when they're returned. So we can also check this using a method getCopies. So book.1 getCopies, and print this. Right. Now let's go and run this, and let's print it again when we return the book. So now we can see when John took the book, the number of copies is 0, and when he returned the book, the number of copies is incremented by 1. So we can see it here. But everything works correctly. So thank you for watching.